Hello and welcome to Tarot Cards and Tea. We are recording here in the Wolf Den today instead of the Conjuring Room. I'm Tia, and in my cup today I have water instead of tea.
And I'm Sonia, and I also have water. We are hydrating today. So today we thought it would be a really good idea to, as we have great ideas,
Always.
to do a little Q&A so you guys can get to know us and we get to know a little bit more about each other.
Love that.
So we've come up with some questions and we're going to do a little random pool, leave it up to the universe. But first, we're going to do a reading for you guys.
A chance to get to know you a little better too. A little Q&A with the cards. All right, I'm gonna do just a general reading, a 3-card pull. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. Not every general reading is going to. So I think the general advice on the internet is to take what resonates and leave the rest. I'd encourage you to do that today as well. So I'm going to pull 3 cards. The first card will represent you. I like to do that because that way, I don't know, it's a better indication on whether or not this reading is for you, probably. So I'll tell you about you and then what you need to know, where you're headed, give you a little bit of some general advice. Okay.
I'm gonna do my little shimmy.
You do a little shimmy? Like,
It's my little excited shimmy.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull 3 cards. Got the first one to represent who you are. Oh, and we've got the 6 of Wands. We've got somebody who has accomplished something or is on the verge of accomplishing something. Maybe you've been working really hard to get somewhere and it's time to just celebrate you. I think sometimes we forget to do that. You get busy working on the goal, and then once you accomplish the goal, there's another goal, right? You're never done. And sometimes we breeze right past the thing we've accomplished. But you're somebody who maybe needs to take a beat and celebrate how far you've come. It's incredible.
There really is no rest for the weary.
There really isn't, but it's important. It's important sometimes to just stop and notice when you've gotten somewhere, when you've accomplished a big goal. But now that you've done that, now that you've taken a moment to pause, let's see where we're headed next. Ooh, the Hierophant. The Hierophant is a card that I didn't like in the beginning, and partly because he's associated with structure, higher order, like higher education, someone in charge of learning. And as someone who didn't always enjoy my educational experiences, I kind of viewed him as more of like a principal or a teacher, somebody that I had some conflict with, but I don't see it the same way anymore. I do still think of it as more higher order thinking, higher learning, but more from a like Sagittarius perspective, right? Somebody who likes to take a deep dive in and learn a bunch of stuff. Not so much, I don't pay attention to the rules and order aspects of this card as much as I used to. So maybe you are somebody who is into higher education. Maybe you're ready to start college, or maybe you're just finishing up college and heading off to your master's program, or maybe that's what you're thinking about doing next, is something with education, and that can be really exciting. What do you need to know to get there? Okay, and so what is some advice you need to carry on with your future? Got the Moon card. I like her. That's a good card. It's really about being in touch with your dreams and with your intuition. Whatever it is you're dreaming of or hoping for or wanting for your future, I think this is a spread that indicates you should go for it. Whatever it is you need to do to get there, you should go for it.
Yes.
The hidden factor, the card at the bottom of the deck that's kind of underlying this, is the 9 of Swords, which for me is an anxiety card. This is a overthinking, lots of worrying, in your head kind of card.
So relatable.
Yeah. I think it's easy to overthink things. So don't. All those things you're worried about happening, that's your anxiety talking, that's your fear talking. I don't think you have to worry about it. I think it's okay to go ahead and go for the thing. You've had some success, build on that. Do the next thing, go to the next level. Pay attention to your dreams, doesn't matter how big they are. Take the steps and go for it.
It's like that old adage, just do it.
Just do it. By the famous Nike. That deep introspective thinking Nike.
I really love that reading.
Yeah, I think it's
sometimes
positive.
fear is one of the biggest things to stop people from doing
Absolutely.
anything. I mean, I know that can be a huge hindrance for myself, so that resonates.
Yeah. Whereas I'm more of a feel the fear, do it anyway kind of person.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I just kind of rush headlong into stuff.
Why you're so good for me.
It comes with its own set of drawbacks, so this is probably a good balance. Like having somebody who's like occasionally putting on the brakes a little bit. Where I launch myself off a cliff.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
My spidey senses are telling me no.
Balance is good. Balance is a good thing.
Balance is good. Okay, so are we ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, so as with any kind of cards, we're going to shuffle the cards. I'll let you do this shuffling.
Okay, so I'm really good at shuffling my cards. Let's see how well I shuffle floppy little index cards. Not well. We'll just maybe
there
do
you
this.
Go. There you go.
We'll just mix them up.
Okay, yay.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
First question.
Ready.
What is your favorite deck?
Ooh, this is an easy one for me. So the deck I use most frequently is going to be the Light Seers deck. I love the art on these cards.
The art is really beautiful.
Yeah, the art is really good on these cards. Yeah. I love the size. I love how easy they are to shuffle. And they have a great website. The person who drew these cards has a website that will do things like you can do a pick a card on their website.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I love the Light Seer deck. But my very favorite deck, they're pretty evenly matched actually. The Modern Witch deck. I love the Modern Witch deck. The cards are a little bigger. They're harder to shuffle. So that's why I don't use them as often. But I love the artwork on those because all of the characters on the cards are represented by either feminine or androgynous or masculine presenting people. And I love that. I love that because I'm the hermit in the deck. If you ever do, we'll talk about it at some point, how to figure out who you are in the tarot deck. I'm the hermit, and I got tired of being represented by an old man with a beard. And so the Modern Witch deck has a hermit card I can get behind. I'm not an old man with a beard anymore in the Modern Witch deck. So, yeah.
Do you have a favorite deck? I don't, but out of your decks, I do love this deck. I think that the artwork is beautiful. And so far, I mean, she hasn't let me down. She's been really honest. And I appreciate that. I know other decks can be kind of assholes. So I appreciate a gentler deck. I'm a very sensitive person.
So this may have been more gentle with you. This deck isn't always so gentle with me.
She likes me.
She likes you. We're just friends. Acquaintances.
That's so fair.
I think she's an Aries,
but I don't have enough experience to really have a favorite deck. But just out of all your decks, I think this one has been my favorite because she's just really honest without being an asshole. At least for me. That's why she's my favorite deck.
For you. Okay, a card for you. What got you interested in the tarot?
So the tarot came through just what I believed as a kid. Like I got started in my teens, and throughout my life, I was very much influenced by my grandmother, and I will definitely mention her in other episodes because she was just such an influence on my life and in the metaphysical. Like, we grew up in haunted houses. And she was very, very much believed in the spirits and in the metaphysical itself, but she very much believed in healing, and she very much believed in natural remedies. You know, she had plants everywhere, and she had, if we got sick, she would be at the stove just cooking up concoctions for us to drink. My sister would get these rashes on her skin, and she would bring out the aloe plant and, you know, start carving it up and getting the gel out of it and just making paste and stuff. I mean, she was very much into just the natural world, and she really was like this green witch. She grew an entire garden in the backyard of an urban jungle in the city. And so for me, it was just kind of like a natural progression, but I didn't really practice until I met you.
You said you got a tarot deck though as a teenager. Do you remember like how you ended up with a tarot deck? Or
I bought one.
Okay.
Because I really didn't have anybody around me who was interested in it, and so I was the weird one. But I got it myself. I don't remember where. I mean, it was probably at like we used to have these stores called Tarot Records and Tower Books and stuff like that. And so I would go to these stores and they would have all kinds of, you know, weird stuff. And I found some tarot decks, and I think mine was like cats. It was
nice.
A cat deck.
I've seen some cat tarot decks. Those are really cute.
And it was great. I started doing readings and stuff, and just like reading, you know, the readings and stuff, because that takes time, and I don't have a great memory, so I really rely on her a lot. But that's how I got interested in it.
Nice. So your grandmother really kind of opened your mind to the metaphysical. Yes. You already were primed for that, and so then when you were presented with the opportunity, you really
absolutely, because I've always believed in other things than the traditional you know, religious or just being. There's always something else. There's always something out there in the universe that you can pull or join powers with, and so I thought that is a great way to channel that.
I love that.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I'm a Scorpio, so I was born with an interest in the metaphysical. So like you, my mind was already very open to this. And then there was a family friend. I don't know if any of the people watching are going to be old enough to remember this, but there used to be this 1-900 number you could call for, and I'm not going to do the voice because it would just be offensive. Probably. Yeah, so I'm not going to do it, but it was Miss Cleo.
And she was Jamaican?
I believe so.
I think she was Jamaican.
I believe so. So you could call a 1-900 number and speak to Miss Cleo, or one of the many people who worked for Miss Cleo who answered those phone calls. And one of those was a family friend of ours. Her name was Diana, and she was a tarot reader, and she would take these calls. When you called Miss Cleo, you were talking possibly to my family friend Diana. And so Miss Cleo ended up being sued for a lot of money for taking advantage of people. However, I can't speak to any of the other tarot readers, but Diana was legit. She was actually a really intuitive person in general. The folks who called her actually got their money's worth. And Miss Cleo earned some money off of that too, because boy, she could talk. Diana was a talker. She would keep people on the phone for quite a while. So that part was maybe not the most ethical, but she was a very good tarot reader. And so I got interested in it from that perspective. Yes. All right, going on to the next card. Ooh, what was your favorite tarot reading?
Ooh, okay. So I have two. My all-time favorite tarot reading was the first one you ever did for me.
Okay.
Because I remember exactly what my question was. And my question was, will I come into my own power? When I met Tia, I was coming out of a really hard time in my life. And I had done a lot of grief work, a lot of just self-awareness work. I did a lot of therapy. And and so I was really coming into a new time in my life. And you know, of course that comes with a lot of fear. I do have a lot of anxiety. And so when I first met you, I was really starting to find who I was going to be, like who I wanted to be, to really start seeing a future for myself. Unbeknownst, I was staring right at her. But my question was, will I come into my own power? And you did my reading, actually with this deck, I think. And it was a really great reading, and it literally told me to stay with you.
Oh, did it? No.
It literally
like
did.
This card means, ooh, that you should date me.
No, no, it wasn't even because we weren't dating at the time.
No, we weren't.
And so because it said to find someone who has the same like energy that you want to omit, and to really like look at that person to see what are the traits that you admire about that person. Like it was that kind of vibe. And you were exactly what I was like looking for in a person who, one, I wanted to spend a life with, I really found you, to be exciting, and you were so independent, and I really admired a lot of things about you. And I was like, oh shit, she's literally living like my life that I want. And then there was just this like really positive forward motion with it, and so that was definitely my favorite reading. But the reading in San Diego,
that's gonna be mine too. He was the best.
Talk about that reading then.
Oh my god, no. The 7th House Speakeasy, which I believe is closed at this point,
God,
which
it's
is unfortunate.
so disappointing because it's so good. It's beautiful. Like, you go through, when you walked in, it's literally just a small room, and you have to go through a bookshelf to get into the bar. It was so peak.
Oh, I loved the 7th House Speakeasy.
Yeah.
And they had tarot readings in the front that you could sign up for. Mm-hmm. And our tarot reader, Diego, cannot sing his praises
Shout out
enough.
Diego.
He did a great
He was
reading.
Amazing.
He was
He had such good energy.
Yes.
And just,
his intuition was just really spot on.
It was spot on.
Yeah, the reading was very accurate. Mm-hmm. It was very positive.
Yeah.
I love a reader who can take whatever cards come out, and it's either going to be a positive reading or a positive message. Like, the lesson is going to be good.
Yeah.
They can even take a Tower card and say, okay, so things are going to be rough for a minute, but the things you don't need are falling away. And at the end of the day, you're going to start with a clean slate and it's going to get better. Like, I love that energy. He had that energy. I don't think either of us had a Tower card, but I'm just, this is for example. But yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah.
Do you remember what he told you?
He told me that, the first card was like, I had completed, or I was working on something, and something big was going to be happening. And at the time, we had become engaged. And so we were like, oh, we're getting married. And then the second card was like, you're going to need a lot of rest. And you said, yeah, she's marrying a Scorpio. And he was like,
yeah.
But to take rest, and like, because something big was going to be happening, so I really had to prepare myself. And then the sun, oh no, I got the star, you got the sun. The star was, he asked me if I had performed, and he's like, no, you really should.
Oh.
Diego.
That's such a smart man.
Diego. So it was just a really good reading. And that was also the reading where he told both of us that we were very connected to our ancestors. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you remember what he told you? Because I think I remember.
Not as clearly as you do, I don't think. So
it was an experience. Okay.
Can you jog my memory? What did he tell me?
I'm trying to remember what he told you, because I do remember that was something about like your ancestors and giving like kind of credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
But he also said something about, he also mentioned something about something happening in your life, but now I can't remember exactly what it was.
I don't remember the reading specifically. I just remember overall the tone of it was very positive, and it was along the lines of, you're doing really well, keep doing what you're doing kind of thing. And so
I just know you got the sun.
I did get the sun. I love the sun card.
I got the sun, and then I got the star. Or she got the sun, I got the stars.
Both really positive cards. So so Diego's reading, hands down my favorite.
Hands down my favorite. That was such a great night too, because I wish that Speakeasy survived, because it was so cool.
Yeah, I don't know why they closed, because they were really good. And the Italian restaurant that was kind of the front of the house for the Speakeasy, the food was so good. The people watching was so good.
It was so good. Yeah. San Diego.
I love San Diego.
Are you ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
Okay. Least favorite tarot reading.
Least favorite tarot reading. So this is actually really easy for me to answer. I've had a lot of tarot readings over my lifetime, and the message wise, some positive and some more challenging, but my least favorite reading ever, I was in a metaphysical store and I was looking at tarot decks. It's a place I can spend a little bit of money. But as I'm looking at some tarot decks, and they had a tarot reader on site, and she literally grabbed me from the aisle, like grabbed my arm, and she's like, "You need a reading," and she pulls me into the back. And I normally would be like, "Don't touch me." I'm usually pretty forceful with that, but I'd had a real rough day. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. What do you have to say to me? And it was probably the least accurate and least intuitive reading I've ever had. This tarot reader was just bad at her job.
Yeah,
she was bad at her job.
That's terrible.
And even without pulling any cards, she looks at me and she's like, "I can tell a lot about you just by looking at you." She goes, "You're a cop, aren't you?" Like, ma'am, I could not be further. I could not be further. I didn't say that to her though. I just let her go off. Like, just, okay, sure. Yeah. I'm a cop and you're psychic. Like, but yeah, that was the worst reading. Because it was first of all forced on me, but if you're gonna force something,
oh god, yeah, don't grab me.
Yeah, but if you're gonna force it on me, be real good at it. Because she could have turned that around. She'd been good at her job. If she pulled me off and said, "I can tell you've had a bad day because this happened and this happened and this happened," I'd be like, "Ooh, tell me more, and here's your tip." Like, right? Like, that would have been incredible. But it was the opposite of that. I got pulled in and given just the least accurate reading I've ever had. So
no, thank you.
So yeah, don't pull folks out of the aisles.
No,
unless you're real good, and then maybe they'll forgive you.
Yeah, maybe.
What about you?
Last week. Last week was a struggle, y'all. No, I'd have to say last week was a struggle. It was a rough week, but I mean, honestly, I don't know if I've never had an experience like that, and I think that you never really have a bad tarot reading. I think you just have bad tarot readers.
Some of them are bad.
I mean, some of them are, I guess, yeah. I don't think I've had like a really bad reading. I think I've just had, like, last week was really rough, and I remembered the cards, and I was like, oh, shit. That's right. That's right. I need to be mindful, because I think that's where I take it is, okay, I need to be mindful on this day and this day and this day. And I know that on this day, I'm going to be able to rest from this week, which happened. I mean, it was like Thursday was the pinnacle of the week, and I was like, I'm done. I have no spoons. I'm absolutely fried. And I was able to take, like the Friday after, I was able to take it and just kind of like breathe for a second. Yeah. So, yeah. You don't give me bad readings.
I try not to. I try to give good readings.
She doesn't give me bad readings.
That's really what it is. I just read the cards. It's not my fault if they're good or bad. All right. When did you start practicing the craft?
Well, I mean, I started playing, and I say play because I wasn't like I was doing readings or anything, but I started looking at tarot when I was 15, 16. I was a teenager, and then, you know, as I got older, it honestly, after having kids, I didn't really have time to do anything else. But I dabbled here and there, but then got more serious when I met you. Yeah. I'd
say, I mean, fairly similar in how I got started or when I got started. Yeah. It was definitely as an older teenager, and I really did play. I played with the cards, and I would give readings to people, but just playing around. It was really more intuitive readings at that point. I wasn't as well versed in the meanings of the deck. I hadn't undertaken any serious study of it. And I think I really got more serious about it and really wanted to start looking at doing it more professionally, doing professional readings, probably 2020. Okay. Because the world paused. I still had to work. Same. But the rest of my time was a lot more, a lot more time at home. And so.
Yeah, and you are definitely a doer.
I'm a doer. That was one of the things that I did. Yeah. While I was.
Gotta keep yourself going.
Gotta keep myself occupied. Yeah. So one of the things I did was just do a much deeper study into the meanings of the cards. So it was, striking that balance between intuitive reading, but also reading the actual meanings. Because you really do need to be able to do both, because there's so many meanings to each card. Right. So you do have to rely on intuition to a certain extent. So, I got more balanced at it from 2020 forward.
Nice. Are you ready?
Ready.
Are there any downsides to using tarot? Well, that's a good question.
Very little.
Yeah.
Very little. People have a lot of fears about tarot, about metaphysical tools in general.
In general, yeah.
But I don't buy into any of that. I think the one downside could be people who rely on it too heavily. Just like any tool, it's just a tool. And so if you use it to just make all your decisions for you, then that could be problematic. Or if you give yourself panic attacks anytime you pull a tower card, or, you know, if you come at it from a place of fear, that could be a real downside to it. So use the tool, don't let the tool use you. Don't, you know. No,
that's true.
Lean on it too heavily.
Yeah.
But I think that would be the only downside. Folks who just get too codependent on their deck.
That's real. No, I think I absolutely agree with you. I think it's definitely, because I mean, I could see how someone who is seeking help and could rely too heavily on it. And just like everything, there has to be a balance. And I don't think that's the Libra in me in talking, but I think that there needs to be some kind of balance in anything we do. You know, too much of one thing could be bad.
Right.
And so I agree with her. I think it's just relying too heavily on it and not using it as in an intuitive, or coming from an intuitive place. Yeah.
Like, you should not ask your tarot deck if you should call 911, right? Should I call 911, yes or no? It says no. It says, like, this bleeding will stop on its own. Like,
I mean, that's real. Oh my gosh. Ready?
Ready.
Okay. What tools besides tarot do you like to use? Ooh, I want to know this one.
Good question. So I consider astrology a tool. I definitely use astrology. Sometimes I will use dowsing rods or my pendulum. I don't use those. I think tarot is what I use most consistently. I like oracle cards. Sometimes I think they're better for like a positive saying or an affirmation than they are for making decisions or predicting the future. Although people use them for those things too.
Oh, interesting.
Lenormand cards. I like all kinds of card options, but tarot is definitely the thing I use the most.
Yeah. Good.
Do you use any tools besides tarot?
Therapy.
Therapy is an excellent tool. I love therapy as a tool. That's perfect. It's great.
That's all I got.
No, that's a good one. I like that. Okay. Best and worst representations of tarot in the media.
Ooh. Okay. Like you said, I think that there's a lot of fear around the metaphysical in general. You know, witchcraft or tarot readers, things like that. And we're definitely seeing it more and more, even in the news, the whole like satanic panic of the 80s and things like that. And I think that there's just not enough understanding. And of course, people hate what they fear. And so I think that when you have any kind of representation that funnels their message through that filter, is a horrible representation of something that is not only people's beliefs and their practice, and it's I feel like it's such a disrespect when people come at it in such a way. But I think that the worst representation is when they demonize it, for lack of a better word. And, you know, people who practice it are these, you know, they're part of the occult, or, and it's just like, if you even just understood, you know, how people practice and what it means to them, I think that is the best representation when it comes from a place of educating rather than fear-mongering. So I think, I don't know what would be like the best representation, because I feel like a lot of the like movies and stuff are always going to have like this fear factor because it's supposed to be entertainment. So like movies like The Craft, I love The Craft, love that movie, but I don't think it's like a true representation of witchcraft, you know what I mean? Because it's just these girls playing around with spells and it's not even a true deity. So So I think that things like that, give a false meaning, but they're so entertaining. And what about you?
So hands down, worst representation of tarot in media, specifically tarot, the movie tarot.
Yeah.
Nothing like a cursed deck to give people the worst ideas about tarot reading. It was an okay movie, but I don't love the representation. I think best representation of tarot specifically in media are going to be folks who do readings on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mixed bag, and perhaps my algorithm shows me only the best of them. I haven't seen a lot of the readers who would give tarot a bad name, who take advantage of people, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the readers that I've seen have actually seemed very ethical. I don't know how accurate general readings always are, because they are trying to reach a large number of people, and so there's going to be some accuracies and some inaccuracies with that. But ethically wise, most of the folks I'm seeing are ethical and good at what they do, and I really like that. I appreciate that it's become much more mainstream, that we're seeing a different side of it. We're not only seeing tarot represented in horror movies, we're also seeing it represented by regular folks who just like to read the cards. I love reading the cards. It's fun.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if we're going to expand it out to just metaphysical in general, practical magic is
right. Love that movie so much.
I cannot wait for the reboot.
The part 2. Okay, tell me if you guys comment down below if you guys are absolutely ready for Practical Magic 2, because it is one of our favorite movies.
Oh my God, such
it was my favorite movie. Now you got me on a rant. I grew up watching that movie with my sister, and ironically, I was Sandra Bullock. My sister was Nicole Kidman. Thank you very much. And yeah, like now I don't want to be the sisters. I want to be the aunties. Like 100%.
Yeah,
Midnight Margaritas.
I'm pretty sure I was born the aunties. I was never Sandra Bullock, so the best I could hope for was the aunties. And so yeah, I love the representation. I love that even in that movie, they were seen as being the outcasts, the weirdos, something to be afraid of.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they weren't any of those things.
Yeah.
They just had learned how to work with the energies around them, which is all witchcraft really is.
Yeah.
It's just working with the energy.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
I love that by the end of the movie, the town has seen that they're just trying to help people.
Yes.
And even at the beginning of the film, like, the woman comes for a love spell, and she comes for, but they're very hush-hush, you know what I mean? And then they have that phone tree, and they all show up, and all these women show up, and I love that. Now we gotta watch Practical Magic.
I will watch that movie every day for the rest of my life. I love it.
Love that movie.
Love it. So not specific to tarot, of course, but for the metaphysical.
No, I
best
agree.
Representation.
I agree. 100%. Advice for learning to read tarot. What advice would you give to someone who's learning?
I love this question. I think that step one is just to get a deck of cards. There are a lot of things being said on social media now that tarot is a little more mainstream. You can't buy your first deck. It has to be a gift. You can buy your first deck. This is a tool. It's okay to buy your own hammer. It's okay to buy your own deck of tarot cards. So buy a deck and start playing with it. I do encourage people, for your very first deck, to get something either Rider-Waite or Rider-Waite based. They're the ones that have kind of the iconic tarot pictures on them, because it's going to be a lot easier to read the meanings on the cards based on that. Once you know those, go grab other decks that are fun and quirky and learn to read those too. But step one, kind of like learning to play guitar, you don't pick up an electric guitar first, pick up an acoustic first. You learn the basics. So get yourself a basic deck. You can use your intuition, pick one that calls to you, do all of that if you want to make it a little more mystical out of the process, but it's okay to just go buy a deck. And then get some books on reading tarot. There are some great books out there on reading tarot. There's thousands of them.
Oh, I'm sure.
I suggest starting at the library, because I don't know about libraries where you live.
Support your local libraries.
Support your local libraries. I live in Northern California, and I've lived in a bigger city in Northern California and a very small rural city in Northern California. Well, town, not city. But both of them you had access to books about reading tarot. And a lot of libraries have virtual media that you can like download books to your tablet or whatever. So take advantage of that. Grab one of those books. If you find one you love, buy it. But in the meantime, rent them. Read a bunch of different ones. I have some favorites. I will list some of them in the comment section here, in the description of the video here. And then I'll link to my Substack and I'll put up a detailed list of all the different books, all the different authors that I really, really like. So yeah, get yourself a deck, play with the deck, get yourself a book, read through the book. I think memorizing the meanings of the cards actually does have some value. People are like, you don't have to memorize it. Well, you don't have to. But I think having a good balance between knowing the meanings and using your intuition is good.
I was about to say, I mean, how are you supposed to be intuitive to the cards if you're having to like read the book? Because eventually though, I mean, through practice, because I remember eventually a lot of the cards I wasn't having to go through the book as much.
Yeah.
And I was able to kind of, you know, use my intuition to see what the cards were saying. But
fun story.
Yeah.
When I was memorizing the cards, because yes, the more you practice, the more you're gonna remember.
Practice makes perfect.
Absolutely. There's no shame in going back to the book and looking up the meanings when you're first getting started. That's how you learn them.
Right.
I recommend doing a daily pull, though. Pull a card every single day for yourself. As a way to learn the meanings.
Yeah.
But you will find, maybe as I did, that there are cards you just never pull for yourself. There are still cards in the deck where I'm like, Knight of Swords. Because I just didn't pull it for myself. Like I know the Tower upside and down because I pulled that card a lot in 2020, but there's other cards that I didn't pull as often. So they took a little longer for me to learn. But yes, pull cards every single day. Learn a card a day. Like however you want to do it, make flashcards for yourself. Or just
practice.
Yeah. Practice.
Play.
Yes.
That is a good word. Play with your
them.
cards.
Yes. Do you have anything to add to that? Any advice?
Oh no, just what she said. Is this our last card?
I think this is our last card.
Because this has been really fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed this.
Where is the weirdest place that oh wait, this isn't the newlywed game.
Ooh, good one, Dave.
Wrong game.
I haven't thought of the word whoopee in a long time. I don't know how old you guys are, but the older viewers will probably get that.
Have you seen the clip of the person that got asked that question?
No.
And her answer?
What?
In the butt.
Oh my god! For context, this was like
70s. And the host, I cannot think of his name. The host, his face was just like, oh, my favorite. I'm sure that blooper is on YouTube.
It's
so
gotta
look up
be
a newlywed game blooper reel.
That
and
was
you'll find
such
it.
a great show.
Such a great show. Such a like I'm homesick from school show. All right. Anyway,
that was a fun trip down memory lane. Okay, what was the question?
The real question is, how do you personally use tarot?
Oh, okay. Personally, I think it is a way for me to focus, kind of just see where to focus my energy. If we do weekly readings, and having not done them on the regular before, I find that it just kind of prepares me to be like, okay, this week might be a little rough. And so I need to make sure that I take care of for myself to be able to handle that. Again, I have a lot of anxiety, maybe a little bit of mental illness. It's fine. But I deal with depression. I deal with, PTSD, and there's, so stress and kind of like just surprises, like really drastic changes can really throw me for a loop. I've had tools that have helped me cope with those things. I've learned how to ground. I've learned how to, just do certain meditations to be able to like bring myself back so that way I don't go into a panic attack. But this is just another tool. Like, this is just another tool to say, okay, this is what the week's gonna look like. This is what the week could possibly look like. And honestly, it's been pretty spot on since we started. So this is what the week's gonna look like. So you know what? At this part of the week, it's gonna be a little rough. Just make sure to take care of yourself. Just make sure to, and that just gives me kind of a roadmap for my mental health, just to be like, okay, I'm gonna have to physically rest, mentally rest, or just emotionally rest on this day, because this day is gonna be a bitch. So, or I'm gonna have a really good week and I'm gonna wanna take advantage of that. Like, this next week, we just did our weekly reading, and this next week, there's going to be a lot of taking charge during the beginning of the week. I'm in a deadline at work, so that makes sense. And that there's going to be a lot of problem solving happening, which means that at the end of the week, I'm going to want to rest because I'm going to be girl bossing hard during the week. So it just kind of helps me have that roadmap for myself. What about you?
Yeah. I like that. I think I use it for a lot of different things, but that certainly is one of the ways.
Yeah.
Just to be kind of prepared or understand what the energy around that day is going to look like.
Yeah.
So that I can make decisions about how best to use it.
Yeah.
Which day this week is going to be the best day to sit down and focus on my budget. Which day is going to be a good day, right?
Yeah.
So it's good for me to kind of understand the energy, just kind of like a weather forecast. When am I going to want to grab a sweater? When do I want an umbrella?
Right.
Tarot can do very similar things. Tarot's iffy on predicting the future accurately, much like our weather app. It's based on, as of today, under these conditions, this was what we can expect during the week.
Yeah.
But that's constantly changing.
Yeah.
Like if I look at my weather app today, it says it's not going to rain next week, but I could check next week and that could be different. So
my knees say otherwise.
Right. So use it with some caution when you're predicting the future with it.
Yeah.
My favorite way to use tarot is actually just to provide myself with a different perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I'm looking at a situation, I can get really locked in on my perspective on the situation and feel kind of stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can be really helpful for me to pull a few cards and get just a different lens to look at the situation through.
Yeah.
It helps me a lot in situations like I have a grown adult child who sometimes I get stuck with, like, I don't know what to do about this. And so I'll pull some cards and it really helps me gain a different perspective on the situation, something that I'm too close to or too emotionally connected to have some objectivity.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, the cards can do that. I like to pull a card, and then I'll do a meditation where I kind of picture the card and I'm having a conversation with the person on the card. And so sometimes I get some really good insight from that kind of meditation.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
That was not my idea. That was actually one of my favorite tarot authors. I'll just drop her name. Mary Kay Greer. She writes some of the best informational books about using tarot, and that was one of her ideas.
Oh.
And she's spot on. That it works very, very well.
Go to the library.
Go to the library. Her books are definitely in the library. I've bought them. I own them now because they were so good. I didn't want to have to keep returning them. But yeah, they definitely are at the library.
Nice.
So yeah.
Well, I really had a lot of fun. Did you have fun?
I did have fun. I liked talking with you about tarot. I learned things about you.
We keep learning things about each other.
We really should do a newlywed
game. Well, I hope you guys had a lot of fun, and if you guys want us to do another Q&A, we can absolutely. This is a new channel, so
send in your questions.
Send in your questions, and we'll read a few off. And as always, like and subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment for us, and we will see you guys next time. Cheers!
Cheers!